Are you ready? Here we go. Another video from my Italian retirement. Well, there we go again. So I thought I'd take a minute to go over more about what the channel is about. So I am retiring in Italy. How did I get there? I can't afford to live in Colorado any longer. I'm going to sell my house. That's all I have. So what are my choices? Where can I live? What do I want in my life? You know, I'd like to be in a place that's got culture, maybe some countryside, a little bit nicer place to live. So as a result, I did some searching on YouTube, well, like a lot of people, found some properties and did some research and decided that maybe Italy would be the place for me to do what I want to do in the future, which is to retire, kind of. So I'll go over the basic steps that I took. You know, maybe the steps you're going to take are different. I'm just going to tell you what I did and what I'm doing. So once the decision was made to actually pursue a retirement in Italy, obviously I went to visit a few times. I did identify some areas. I looked in Piemonte, I looked in Tuscany, Umbria, Marche, narrowing down places that I wanted to go, where I want to live. So I found a place, I found an area. What do I do first? Okay, I'm going to go briefly over some of the things that I had to do, and then in later videos, maybe attack each one and go in more detail one at a time. So, like in America, you need a social security number. In Italy, it's called a Codice Fiscale. So I went online, I found a law firm in Italy that actually would do the Codice Fiscale remotely. Of course, I'm going to include this information in the description box. So I got my Codice Fiscale. So now I'm able to go to Italy, stand in a house, speak with a real estate agent, and sign a contract saying I can do this. So at that point I did. I went to a couple small towns to find out what I like. I did find a house, I did stand in it, and I did indicate that I wanted to buy the house and started the process. Unfortunately, for the first house, I lost it, and so that was kind of disappointing. But I went back, I don't know, maybe a year later, and over that year was able to do some more searching, find another property close to the same area. In actuality, it was a better property, to be honest with you. And get it under contract. Took about, I don't know, maybe September, October, November, December, January, February. We closed in February, so it wasn't that long really once it was done to get the process moving. The buying of the house really is part of a bigger picture. The bigger picture being getting a retirement visa, permanent residency visa, so that I can live in Italy. And you need a place to live, whether it's a long-term lease or a house. This is the foundation of getting your paperwork together for the visa. So the house is done. I have bought the house. I was there in June and stayed in the house, meeting the neighbors, and it's good. It's good. It did turn out to be a great location choice. So now what do I do? Well, I have to retire in order to move, so I'm working towards getting to the point where I can retire, which is now less than a year away. I'm starting to accumulate the materials and documentation I need for the appointment at the consulate, which in my case would be this Italian consulate in Chicago. I live in Colorado. We're represented by the consulate in Chicago. I have to address passive income requirements, obviously a place to live, health insurance, a lot of things that I will get into one at a time as we start to address these things. So that's what I'm doing at this point, is preparing for the visa appointment. Obviously I have to sell my house, getting that ready. So in the meantime, you know, you got to live day to day. You know, life just doesn't stop. So I'm going to show you some of the things I do to keep me occupied. We'll keep doing videos regarding this. There's always stuff to do, projects. You know, it's kind of interesting. And then interspersed in these small videos, I will try to address topics one at a time in more detail. And we'll get through this together. And then by the time I'm ready to go, I'll be ready to go. So that's where I'm at. So, one of the things I do in my spare time is I smoke salmon. I like smoked salmon, and looked up a few recipes on YouTube, came up with something on my own, came out pretty good. So it's basically salt, pepper, sugar, and chopped dill. I do it by weight, and I will put in the description box an explanation of the formula that I used, and it did work really good. I coat both sides of the fish and then very carefully insert the fish into a vacuum sealed bag and seal it up with a vacuum. At that point, I put it in a dish and weight it down with a Ziploc bag full of water. So this basically will go into the refrigerator for 2 days. 2 days is really all you need for the curing period, at which point you then remove it from the bag, wash it, and then it gets needs some time in the refrigerator to dry out prior to smoking. And once you get a nice film on the top of the fish from being air dried, that's when we go into the smoker. And of course, as you can see here, I prefer the apple pellets for smoking, and I use my vertical smoker. It actually worked pretty good. Keep in mind I'm cold smoking, which means I don't want to get the smoker above 90 degrees. Best to do in the winter. In the summer, I actually used a tray of ice to keep the temperature down. So the temperature we know is at 90 degrees. The time involved in the smoking can be anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, depending on how much smoke you like, I guess. I probably did 4. I did a little more than 4, maybe 5 hours. So once that's done, the fish will come out, and again, it needs to dry out in the refrigerator for 24 hours, and after which time you can start the slicing process. And I gotta tell you, there was nothing like how this came out. It was really, really good. And you can see it has beautiful translucency. It cut fantastic. It was just beautiful. And once you get the cutting down, which is a little tricky, then you can move on to the portioning. And all I really did at that point was to lay out my slices and then vacuum seal those so they can be stored. I actually froze mine, and they froze fine. They would thaw out in 20 minutes, so it was pretty cool. Some variations that I did try in the cure adding some diced red beets. Kind of added a cool dimension to the whole process, as you can see. So being a fan of the Welshire maple bourbon flavored bacon, I thought it was time to buy myself a belly, split it into 3 pieces, and do my own. So I did some research, the results of which you'll see in the description box as far as the cure recipe. Same system, vacuum seal, put in the refrigerator. As far as bacon goes, it takes a week, flipping every 12 hours. And then after the week's over, you take them out, wash them off, and let them air dry in the refrigerator to prepare for smoking. Same deal, cold smoke, less than 90 degrees, apple pellets. I would do 4 to 6 hours, but really what you're looking for in bacon is about 145 degree internal temperature. So once you get that, you pull the bacon, air dry it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you're ready to slice. But prior to slicing, what I did is I took each piece and I put it in the freezer for about 2 hours, and it made the slicing process a lot easier. And when I say it came out incredible, I am not even remotely exaggerating. Truly amazing, no doubt. This is what a hungry cat, a cat that wants bacon, looks like. Fall in Colorado is pretty nice. The mums are out. I love mums. Cut flowers are plentiful. Really like having cut flowers on my counter. It's probably something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I think my father really taught me that. I didn't garden too much this year, although I did grow a little bit of basil, and it seemed to do okay. The bugs certainly liked it. But what are you going to do? I used it. It was good. But with the weather changing, it was time to get the first fire going in the pellet stove. That's always a nice time of year for me. I like doing that. It's comfortable. It's really nice to sit and have the warmth of the fire and kind of doze off dreaming about what life could be in my new home in Italy. Could be this. I don't know. Probably not, but maybe. More likely, it will be taking a nice long walk on the country road that I live on, heading down to get coffee. This road really made it for me. It really made the difference. Now, this is the sticker on my car, the symbol of Umbria. How the end got there, I'll never know. Somebody, who knows. But in the meantime, I can have a glass of wine and dream. I can dream about having coffee in Città di Castello with my great friends. Oh my God, it was just unbelievable to be there, and never been treated so good in my life. So in the meantime, I take some rides on the country roads here in Colorado. The weather's great. Blue skies, no clouds. Great scenery. It's pretty cool. I've been working on getting my iPad laptop station set up so that I can maybe get better at making these videos. Who knows? But in the meantime, this is what we're doing. I hope you enjoyed what I had to offer. Maybe next week, next couple of weeks, we'll talk about other things, more details, and maybe about something. Thanks again for watching.